Well, hello, and welcome to Opal City Confidential episode 19, where we will be discussing Adventure Comics 69 starring the Golden Age Starman and Starman Volume 2, Issue 10, Jack Knight, my man. We're going to start with Ted this week. Just kind of like changing it up. So this is issue 69. Let's go to Meg's Amazing World for a little data. And this comic was released on October 31st, 1941. 3 days after Dave's dad was born, if I remember correctly. He was me and Dave Steele's father share a birthday, just many years apart. Cover dated December 1941. Editor Murray Boltinoff, the great creator of Universe B. This issue is titled Adventures of the Singapore Stranglers. It is a 13-page story starring Starman, writer Gardner Fox, artist Jack Burnley. This has been reprinted once in the Golden Age Starman Archives Volume 1, published 2000. It's the beauty I have. You guys find it on eBay. You can get it pretty cheap. It's worth it. The Jack Burnley art in Volume 1 and the Emil Gershwin in Volume 2 are just absolutely worth the money. Supporting characters Doris Lee and her uncle Woodley Allen. The villains are Captain Fujiyama and the Singapore Stranglers. Other characters is Jeeves, who is Starman's chauffeur, who is pretty unobservant. Starman thwarts an attempted form of... Let me do this again. Starman thwarts an attempt by foreign spies to sabotage the engines of several American vessels. He traces the saboteurs back to their leader, Captain Fujiyama. After subduing them, Starman stops the destruction of a munitions plant by one of the agents. It's got a great cover by Jack Burnley of Starman battling a bear with an unconscious guy with his cosmic rod. These are some great comics. I would wish I wonder if they've done prints of these. I wouldn't mind hanging one of these up in my apartment, except my wife would hate me. But this one starts, okay, the little title card. Let's call it the title card from now in these Golden Age comics. It says Starman by Jack Burnley. It's got him rushing at us. It's a great, God, man, Jack Burnley's art is so good. It is so good. Like me and Dave, we just recorded this past weekend. We recorded All-Star 8, which will come in a couple episodes. Because next regular Jack episode is just a Jack one. It is A Time's Past, which me and Dave recorded in April, and then we're going to do All-Star Comics 8, and then I'm just going to do the Starman Adventures in All-Star, where they fall in publication order. So we're going to have like 2 episode. We're gonna have some odd episodes where Jack's the only character and Ted gets one. The Justice Society gets an issue to shine. But this is Jack Burnley. He's got the title Starman with the yellow star, and the little cap shows an Asian gentleman in a turban and a yellow sash. He's supposed to be from Singapore. He's supposed to be, I guess, Chinese. I think they're culturally appropriating several things. It's making a mixed bag of Asian culture in 1941. Aided by the magnetic rays of the gravity rod, the Man of Night fights single-handed against a mysterious Oriental sabotage clique in the adventures of the Singapore Stranglers. So yeah, it's a mixed bag of that term Oriental, which is not appropriate ever anymore. Of cultures, all kind of mixed bag. It starts with, Starman and Doris dancing, and then, he does his patented feint, because he's got to get away because he's been feeling the gravity rod vibrate in his pocket, I guess. That's how Woodley Allen gets him. Doris says something sexist to him, disgusting, fainting like a silly girl. Poor Ted is ill again. Give him some air, So he gets in the car with Jeeves, his butler. But, he makes his way out. The gravity rod is signaling him to call Chief Woodley Allen. And he ducks out of the car without Jeeves noticing him. But all the clothes are in the back seat of the car, so Jeeves is a little put off. And he flies off and he meets Woodley and he talks about the gangs that are messing with the ships. And these very 1940s culturally inappropriate drawings of Chinese bad guys. He battles them, he fights, he stops them from destroying the ship. It's a lot of good action. I think Burnley does action very well. The more I read it is very of its time. It's very Republic serials. But it's good. He gets away, he battles away, he goes to Woodley, and then we meet the main villain, Captain Fujiyama, who is drawn to look like, I don't know if it's Toho, the prime minister is a military dictator leader of Japan under the emperor at this time. I don't understand their politics other than he was not a very nice man, but it's drawn to look like that. He battles a larger gentleman with a scimitar. He stops them all. It's a lot of good action. But yeah, he confronts him, and they're going to go on a suicide mission to blow up a plant. And Starman's listening, and then when he drops down, it's a trap. They were waiting on him, and there's this cave with a large bad guy with a scimitar. Gets zapped relatively quickly by Starman. Starman flips him into Fujiyama's face. He grabs him, and he threatens them all, and Fujiyama squeals like immediately what's going on. He tells about the suicide mission to blow up the munitions plant, and this guy's going to throw a bomb. Starman stops him, and he uses the gravity rod to make it away. But it's as I've said, these are okay. It's hard. It's different. Reading Golden Age comics is different. Reading a bronze, a silver, a modern, whatever. It's just different. These are a little bit better. This one's a little more problematic because some of the cultural stuff's a little like we would question it today. But it is really well drawn. I'm really becoming to the thing that Jack Burnley is right now my favorite Golden Age artist. But I need to read more, and I've talked about that. Dave, you'll listen to me and Dave talk about it in a month when you hear All Star 8, because you got to view Golden Age comics through a historical prism, because some of the stuff just doesn't hold up. The quality art is a little rushed because they were getting paid pennies on the dollar for the page, and they were having to pump out page after page after page. It's why some of them became so prolific. It's out of necessity. And those that had succeeded. And Jack did this for a few years and then stopped. He drew a lot of Superman. He drew some other stuff. But, he he ended up living here in Virginia, not far from me in Charlottesville. And passed away, I guess, in the 70s. So, but his art's beautiful and I love it. But now let's get on to Starman Volume 2, Issue 10. And this lovely comic was published on June 20th, 1995. It was cover dated August 1995. It is Volume 2, Number 10, as I said. The executive editor is Jeanette Kahn. Cover artist is Tony Harris. Writer, James Robinson. Penciler, Tony Harris. Inker, Wade Von Grawbadger. Colorist, Gregory Wright. Letterer is Jasper Saldino. Editor, Chuck Kim and Archie Goodwin. The synopsis: Jack Knight receives a phone call from Jade, Jenny Lynn Hayden. She informs him that Solomon Grundy is loose in Opal City. Jack finds and fights him in the sewers. He manages to hurt Grundy, and Grundy cries, and then stops fighting. Now, friends, Jack takes Grundy away from the sewer and to a friend's place. Elsewhere, Nash has escaped from prison and successfully duplicated her father's experiment. She now has the missed powers and vows to go against Jack. That is a backward-ass synopsis. But it's it. It's just in a weird, different order because the story is constructed very differently. The title of this is The Day Before the Day to Come. So this is setting up an arc that continues in 12, not 10. Because 10 is Times Past. It's the Ragdoll story, which you will hear in 2 weeks. But it is the prologue to a story called Jack's Day, the First Sins of the Child, Part 1. And each one's a different day and a different Starman or a different character's day for that arc. But this is the prelude. It's the second prelude. I guess it's chapter 1. The prelude was the other one that was the bridge between Turk County and this. But it starts with Jack hanging out in his kitchen in his underwear, talking to the Shade, telling the Shade, "Look, I agreed to read your damn books. That I agreed to. But I am not your trained monkey boy. You need a favor? Go find a friend. For the last time, I'm not your amigo. Amigo? Got that?" And Shade replies, "It's not a favor I ask. It's need of you. This city has need of its hero. I merely act as the herald to the threat you will ultimately have to face." Jack's response, "Yeah, Mr. Herald, you could blow your trumpet somewhere else. Tell me what else I have to face. Where do you get off?" "I repeat, the city needs of its hero, and you are that hero, are you not?" Jack's response, "Maybe." And then they had this conversation about how he told him about, as he read Wild, and Jack's like, "Yeah, I'm not a complete moron." And he talks about this man that Wild had told Shade about, who was the inspiration of the portrait of Dorian Gray. Except it wasn't a portrait that showed him in his real age and he was young. It was a man who's using this poster, which we saw in the last issue, that eats people and souls, and it keeps the young guy alive. So the guy carrying the poster is a servant of the poster. And it's very strange. And it's a great conversation. It goes on for a few pages. And, they're getting ready for, Shade's getting Jack ready for his next big challenge. And then we cut to a single page with 5 panels. It's Ted talking about how he's trying to communicate with Michael. He still can't get it. He's using using Shade's notes and other things. He's talking. He's trying different things. And I like this. "I hope I can accomplish this, the task at hand. But I'm a man of the stars, not an interpreter, nor a specialist on memory loss. Perhaps indeed this job is more than the sum of my abilities." And then Michael goes, "Teddy Pendergrass?" And then Ted's thinking, "I might not have to. Or perhaps I'm being overly hard on myself." And that's great. And then we see the Mist breaking into an office. Office number 413, Will o' the Wisp. And there's this weird sci-fi machine, beautifully drawn by the amazing Tony Harris. And you know exactly what she's going to do. And then we go back to Jack has gone to see his fortune teller friend, Charity. And she's going, "Well, I can't talk, but I got a client." And there, standing in the door, is her client, and who says, "Hello, Charity. I'm sorry I'm late." Charity introduces Jack Knight to Sadie Falk, and she reminds him, "It's too late. We've already met. You ran into me at the circus." And she goes, "You bumped into me. The circus? You weren't looking where you were going?" "Oh, yeah, that was you. Funny, what a small world." And then she says, "If I happen to be unlucky enough to pass you in a crowd again, be more careful where you step. Better still, hop on your cosmic broomstick of yours and take to the skies and keep out of everyone's way. Do us all a favor." And he's flabbergasted. And Sadie's going to be a big thing. I mean, I'm thinking most of you have, I hope some of you are reading along for the first time. That would make me feel grand and that you're enjoying this. But I know most of you have already seen it. But Jack goes back and he's thinking about Sadie, and he's going to be thinking about Sadie on and off for a long time. And he gets a phone call, and it's from Jade. And they talk for a little bit, and she, he knows, he says, "I know who you are." And she's not really being a superhero now. And she asks her a favor. It's, she had made a friend with Grundy, and I think he's in town. And so he does what he does. He does what he's just, he is his father's son. This is the daughter of Alan Scott, someone he's probably met a bunch in his life, his father's friend. And Jack Frawley's reluctant heroiness is a hero. So he goes into the sewers looking for Solomon Grundy. And it is a gloriously drawn, wonderfully colored by the amazing Gregory Wright and drawn by Tony Harris with a lot of yellows and greens and blues. And him and Solomon Grundy, and this is the skinny, sensitive Solomon Grundy, they have a fight in the sewer, and Jack zaps him with his, it takes on a couple pages. He zaps him with the cosmic rod, and Grundy cries, "You hurt me. Why? You hurt me." Gee, big guy, I didn't know because you were throwing me around like a puppet? Just maybe? Just trying to grab you so you don't hurt Grundy. Hurt Grundy anyway. I'm not hurt you. I was, don't you know what? Scared. And it's a great scene. It's a great scene, and he offers Grundy, you want something? We'll go get you something to eat. We'll get someplace warm. And he asks, are you hungry? What do you eat? Frogs. Oh. And then the next page is Nash coming out of the machine, and it's all this things in her thoughts about, it's about how the machine changed her, and all she does is smile and go, success. And then we cut to the final 2-page spread. Not the final, the next to two. We get 3 pages left, and there's a 2-page spread, and I'm going to read you the caption on this. Some expressions get used too often. Tomorrow is another day, is one such term. Though for many their lives mired in routines, such is indeed the same. Dawn to dusk, to night, to dawn again. But not in Opal City, not this city, not this tomorrow. A drama is beginning, the players are gathered, and everyone will have a role to play. Tomorrow, on a day unlike any other, when what makes a hero will be defined in the thoughts and actions of each soul shown here, or what makes a villain. That makes a villain, and an enemy for life. And so the end of this page, okay, so the double page spread, it's Jack, Ted, Shade, Dirty, Dare brother, Solomon Grundy, Michael, Dare's sister, and blanking it, and then the other Adair brothers, and then Dr. Phosphorus. And then the final page is this great single-page panel. It's Nash as the new Mist. She's got a smoke body, except for her hands in her head. She's got these great black round sunglasses, and she goes, Jack Knight, I'm going to give you such a big, wet kiss. And it's great. And what's so good about this is a bridge. It's another bridge story. It's another character movement story. And I love it because you see Jack and Shade getting together, Ted and Michael's friendship getting together, more charity. Sadie's introduced, a lot more fun with Sadie to come. Jade getting involved, another legacy hero talking to a legacy hero. Our version of Solomon Grundy, who'll be with us through most of this, the rest of the run. He becomes a player in the thing. And then there's this, and they're going into the big day, the sins of the child story. But we're going to pause, and we're then going to jump backwards in time to the 1940s, to the story Ted kind of told Jack last issue about Ragdoll. And in 2 weeks, you can get to hear me, Dave, talk about that. It's a wonderful issue. I'm really excited. These are some great, I'm kind of remembering this as I go along and forgetting things, and I've forgotten things, which is good. Forgetting sometimes when you reread material is good, because sometimes you get to have it all fresh in your head again, and it's wonderful. I think the art is kicking in. I think Tony Harris is firing all centers. Gregory Wright's colors are masterful. Everybody is hitting everything in perfect unison. It is a great collaborative effort to create a great comic book. And I've gushed more than I have. It's just a wonderful set. I read a lot more than I wanted to, but there's some good stuff in this. And I know Robinson can be a little flowery, but I don't care. I loved it. So, next week, it will be more Prince Gavin, 2 more than Ditko Levitt Starman. And then we will be back with Starman Volume 2, number 11, Times Past. and more fun. And there'll be Thursday. I don't know if I'm probably not going to do a Legion episode Thursday. It will probably be on Friday this week. I got a busy day at work tomorrow. And then Thursday, I'm not sure I will have time to record. I'm going to try to. I'm going to read the comics tonight. They're 2 short ones. We're getting to an era of, I don't remember it. So I think some of these I may never have read. Ooh. And this weekend I don't know what to do, except it's going to be something marvelous. But I just haven't decided. I'll read something, I'm trying to think. Kirby was on last week, and I really appreciate it. I want to have him back again for more fun stuff. I like his energy and his exuberance for comics and wanting to try different things. I think that's great. I want to shout out a couple people. Earth 2 Podcast, they're getting ready. They've been working really hard. They've gotten to 1972. I'm excited because they're going to start talking. They're going to start talking Seven Soldiers of Victory as they lead themselves to Justice League 100. One of my favorite and one of the best comics I've ever read, and very important to me. You will hear more about that as those come out. Please check out Earth 2 Podcast. Please, please, please. Hey, I'm playing catch up with Billy, the amazing Billy. I don't listen to myself on other people's podcasts sometimes, so I've been catching up on the All-Star Squadrons I'm not in. I did listen to the last Freedom Fighter one, and I was very entertained. The 3 of us had a good time. But catching up his movies and monsters, they just did. I just listened to his Excalibur episode and other things. I've been listening to Comic Couples Counseling. I've had to pause. They're doing stuff. I'm going to jump to stuff that I've read or I'm familiar with. The couples counseling stuff, I only kind of want to listen to if I'm familiar. They're doing Saga. I haven't read Saga. I need to read Saga. That is next year sometime. I will start collecting those trades. I'm focusing on some Bronze Age money going to Bronze Age stuff. And check that out. Billy's stuff is really good. He has Martin and it's just all the guys. It's just great stuff. Listen to it. Ron's back with Fantastic Comic Fan. Listen to his stuff. No genre goes untouched, and he really, really pushes creator-owned, independent, produced stuff, and it's a great podcast. Check it out. What else? Oh, In-Stock Trades. I've been buying a lot from In-Stock Trades. I buy from cheap graphic novels too because I love them. They've got some deals. Sometimes I kind of go, and sometimes $1 matters, and I buy the one that's cheaper. But I've been in the mail is the World of Invincibles compendium, which will give me everything. I've been getting the Savage Dragon archives from them, and I've gotten most of them, and they're in black and white. But I kind of want to, read Savage Dragon at some point. So it's been good. And I've got some. I'm going to do an episode soon, and I might just drop it on a random day of some of the stuff I've gotten. I'll give you kind of an overview of some of the great stuff I've gotten. But that's it for this week. As we'll be back with more Starman next week with Prince Gavin and some glorious Paul Levitz and Steve Ditko sci-fi stuff. Almost on the level. I think it's almost on the level of a really good Jim Starlin 70s cosmic thing. And that's the gold standard. That is the gold standard. So, folks, as always, be safe, be smart, be kind to one another, and read some comics.